Channel 1, the home base of TechEd 2021. How do I now start accessing building in intelligent functions in my workflow solution?
Yeah, how can I make you more intelligent? That's true, yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it, Carsten. I know you have been a bit active throughout TechEd so far, but what is your experience with social media?
The internet needs me. Coming up now is our guest, Nathaniel, who will let us know how he came to more mental clarity by meditation.
I think about my grandparents. I think about my parents.
Wow, you really took us down memory lane here.
And I am thrilled to be joined by our SAP mentor, Chris Kernahan, now live in studio.
Hi, how are you doing?
Coming. There he is! Hello, Chris!
Hello!
Hello!
How are you?
I'm good, Chris. I'm so happy to see you. How's been your Wednesday morning in Northern Ireland so far?
It's been fabulous. It's 8:20 here, so it's fairly early in my morning.
All of the sessions are recorded, and whenever you miss one because you sometimes need a little bit of sleep, we understand that, it's fine. You can rewatch later on.
Try to sort of follow the German saying, I don't know if there's it's the right translation, use your head to save your heels.
Okay, that would be, wer's nicht im Kopf hat, muss es in de Fies haben.
We're now handing it over to Thomas and Orla on the topic of benefits of SAP HANA Cloud. So enjoy the upcoming topic hour. And with that, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Sorry, I wanted to...
No, I won't.
Perfect to be back. We had a little bit of break. I hope you also got a little bit of rest, Orla.
I did, I tried, but I was very excited after our evening session, so it took a little while to fall asleep. But no, I'm rested and ready to go again. In the meantime, Casimir has joined us and is playing with the mouse. It appears, Thomas, that we missed a lot of fun while we were sleeping. And Casimir is back again and over your shoulder. He's really interested in these sessions.
Woo!
I also like the SAP development keynote. Oh my God, that was so cool last year. I love to go to is Channel 1.
SAP TechEd is a great opportunity for lifelong learners like you and me to get a concentrated boost of knowledge. One of my favorite parts of SAP TechEd is the developer keynote. It's full of information on diverse developer topics with enough content to unpack over the weeks and months following.
Hello and welcome to SAP TechEd Day 2. I can't believe we are already one full day in. And I am Cecily Sorensen, and I'm so excited to be joined here on stage with my wonderful co-host Josh to welcome you into the pre-show, the countdown
watch a lot of these, and I will watch them on repeat. And I've got things in here, as you can see. So I've got security by design. I've got teaming up with SAP TechEd in day 2. Some of these things are all eyes on, which is the developer keynote and yesterday Jürgen's keynote. You couldn't block anything during that hour. So right now, sessions aren't running because you're watching us.
Exactly.
So other thing is when you're in one of the sessions, that's when you get the video. You can watch it in the actual system, and you get the Q&A. And I don't want to jump in and actually do an infinity loop and, and
see
go too
ourselves
deep.
in the
Exactly. So I'm not going to click on that. I did turn my volume off, though, which is pretty good of me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had a nice echo feedback once it started playing.
Which would have been nice.
It could have been. I do like hearing myself talk. And I think other people are probably going to realize that the more they watch this.
But yeah, the really important thing is there is a live chat that's running for the full 48-hour program. That's part of your team, right? The developer advocate team is supporting that chat. But in addition to that, like Josh said earlier, if you want to participate in the live Q&As, especially for the one we have coming up after the developer keynote with 5 people from the developer keynote, we're going to do a panel discussion. Make sure you're joining from the event platform. So instead of Twitter or other live streaming areas, the only questions we'll be able to get in the studio here to address towards the experts are coming from the event platform. So pretty important piece of information.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I think once they open up the Q&A tool, that's when you can start throwing those questions in. So you might have to wait till it opens, but then please, please put your questions in and fill up that queue. And we'll answer as many as we can in the chat tool and on air with the panel. I wanted to point out one little section I might have missed earlier, which is the Keep Learning session. Section. So you've got the Learning Zone and Discover More. So make sure you go into these if you want to follow up. There is also a 25% discount right now on SAP certifications. So I want to make sure everybody, TechEd, I did an upskilling section this morning with Menina, and upskilling is very important. You keep learning no matter who you are, where you are. So let's make sure that we're always learning and go back and you can keep learning more about SAP, all the topics that were covered here.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you, Josh. I think that definitely helps everybody feel a little bit more comfortable with the event platform and how to navigate and find everything that they would need to join our show today. And that is actually a good segue into the executive keynote from yesterday. So we started off yesterday with our executive keynote from Chief Technology Officer Jürgen Mueller. Of course, great keynote, always lots of highlights, but there were 3 that I would like to pull out just that were highlights for me personally. And kind of like you just talked about, right? You were talking about learning, and learning was a big part of Jürgen's keynote as well. And what I really appreciated was the SAP Learning Hub is now, it's built around the understanding that we have a lot of content that's out there and we're constantly consuming, especially now in these virtual events like this one, right? That there's a lot of content to be consumed, and the importance of upskilling and reskilling and staying up to date so that we can make the best decisions and that we can advance professionally as well. And what I like about the SAP Learning Hub is that it's tailored content, right? So you can access it, you can find your developer level, you can find your skill set and see the information that's most important for you. But also, one of my favorite parts about Channel 1 this year is that we brought in a lot of that content. So the strategy talks and the live Q&As and the demos, we brought that into Channel 1 this year to do just that, to make the content for you in a more engaging way and also in a way that's easier to consume. So we understand that sometimes you don't have the time to join a full hands-on workshop and you just kind of want a micro-learning. And I think that really came through in the keynote as well, that that's important to have different formats for learning. So we're still going to have the hands-on workshops and the deep dive content, but also these kind of snippets or like the SAP Tech Bites that your developer advocate team is creating. I think that's amazing, and I think that's really what we need, right? We need various forms of content for learning. 2 more highlights, or you want to comment on that?
That was one highlight?
That was one highlight, learning.
Awesome. Keep going, and then I'll go mine.
No, go ahead.
So I will jump in and say Rich Heilman on our developer advocate team, because you just mentioned our team does Tech Bites.
Yep.
And we produce content for the developers out there in the SAP and non-SAP world. We put them on YouTube. And having Rich featured with Jürgen Mueller was something I think Rich really enjoyed and the audience enjoyed, because we talked about embedded steampunk. And this is, again, going back to ABAP, which is, there's a lot of reasons that our audience cares about ABAP. And when Rich got to go out there and say, we've been hearing these requests over and over for these features, and they're finally getting them into the cloud the way that the SAP ABAP community is expecting. So it's really exciting for Rich and for Jürgen, I think, to see all that. And he actually, I mean, Rich is really embedded, just like embedded steampunk.
Yeah. I like that. And so then the other 2 highlights that I have 2 more. First one was, of course, free tier. So the free tier model, lowering those barriers of entry for SAP BTP, making it easier in terms of not having to create a free trial account, but having a way to get started with the services immediately. And if you then decide that, hey, you want to fully commit, you're not going to lose any of that work that you can transition right over. So
let me comment on that one as well, because I wanted to bring that as a highlight. And bringing that as a highlight because we've had trial for a long time.
Yeah.
Trial's been out there in the SAP world with BTP, but the difference is a lot of our companies and partners, and there's multi-cloud strategy, and you go to some of these multi-cloud providers and you give them a credit card and you try out production features. And now we've gotten to that point as well where that's what the free trial is. That's the difference. It's a fully productive system.
Yep.
Versus you may not have all the features in trial, which is still there, but the free tier is different than trial.
Exactly. Okay. And lastly, of course, the low-code, no-code. So what I think is most important about the low-code, no-code announcements in the keynote is we're not going to be losing professional development, right? I mean, really what this is about is enabling all developers out there with different skill sets to collaborate with each other and to help accelerate application development. So it's really just increasing the amount of tools that are available to respond to the change in the market and to respond to the increase in demand that obviously we've been noticing for years. I mean, I know we're talking about how it's really accelerated in the last 2 years, but this has been coming for a long time. And I think that's what's most powerful is just increasing the tool set.
Agreed. And it is a highlight for me as well because the AppGyver tools out there, we've been working with other low-code, no-code things as the developer audience for years.
Yeah.
But there's been, if you look at different things in the Magic Quadrant and other places, a need for not the citizen developer, not just somebody who's in a line of business to build apps. They don't want to know how to code.
Yeah.
But if you watch that demo that was done in the keynote, you saw that the AppGyver team said IT had to go out and grab some databases and make them available to SAP systems. And that's that layer that BTP has. It's so simple for somebody who's not going to want to get deep into the code, but have something right there clickable that they can jump in and grab that back-end data.
Exactly.
So it's really nice and it's graceful and it's enabling more people to access app building.
Yep. So if you missed the keynote, don't worry, there is a replay available, and also a great way to see the highlights is through the SAP TechEd News Guide. So let's go ahead and play a quick clip of the TechEd News Guide and what you can find there. Keynote sneak peek.
Okay.
Hi, so welcome back. I hope you liked that quick video of the news guide information. So this isn't the only keynote that's happening, right? What do we have coming up really soon?
Again, I'm not trying to make it all about me, but if you notice there's something in the middle of the table here that looks a lot like me. There's me nodding my head and there's a little Bobble Josh nodding his head, and they want to see more of maybe some of this blueness and the outgoing developers that we have on the developer advocate team, 10 technologies from 9 developer advocates and a few special guests. And we're all going to, Tom Young's been putting a lot on social media. You saw DJ in a chef hat, and there's a lot of things. I don't want to give it all away.
Yeah, don't give it away.
Okay.
So now we're going to play a quick sneak peek video of the developer keynote.
It's so good. It's so good. Is the video playing?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Ich brauche einfach meine Ruhe.
Pretty cool, right?
Welcome to the TechEd Code House.
That was such a quick tease that I think you saw a couple of seconds of almost everybody who was in the video, if not all of us featured, with the area of expertise that we're going to talk about. But it's we couldn't give too much away, or you wouldn't be as surprised when you watch the entire thing. I think it runs, you know, almost 45, 46 minutes, and it's a little bit of humor with a lot of code, so I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, nice. Really looking forward to it. Amazing video, liked the sneak peek as well. So let's talk a little bit about what's new at SAP TechEd this year. So we have unlimited seats in some of our workshops, right? So that was a brand new thing that we introduced this year that we didn't have last year.
And that was based on feedback, right? Because people are like, I can't get into the thing I wanted to register for. The seats are full, and so we've opened it back up.
Yep, exactly. And I think that was great. We've had excellent feedback on that, and lots of people have registered for those workshops. We also had the live chat that I mentioned earlier, so live chat running for the full 48-hour program hosted by the developer advocate team, so make use of that. There's people back there to support you, to answer your questions, and they want to talk to you. And also the student sessions. So I hope you were able to watch some of those yesterday, Josh, but they are one of my favorite elements of the show, where we interviewed students about their experiences with SAP, with joining the ecosystem. How do they like their team? What has their experience been? And I think it brings a really nice, fresh face to SAP TechEd, and also to hear from some of the new voices.
For sure. We featured a couple of those in the upskilling hour. I got to introduce one from Orla and Dhruv, and it was really nice, as well as mention a little bit about the student we have on our team. Developer advocates actually have a student working with us named Lena, so it's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I started as a student, so of course it's dear to my heart that it always takes me back to my first days at SAP, which, as I talked about yesterday in one of my hours with Kevin, that they really give you the opportunity at SAP to jump right into a topic and to get involved. You don't feel like you're just getting coffee or, you know, doing some mundane task. You really are involved right from the get-go.
Perfect.
And I think with that, we're going to be...
I think it's time to hand over to one of the people you may have seen in the sneak peek video, who is, I think, integral to the success of the developer keynote, and that would be Mimiki over on our social media wall.
Oh, thank you, Josh.
Hi, Mimiki.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Cecilia.
Hello. Good to see you again.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that shout out. The developer keynote is definitely something that you guys will want to look up to. So let's start with the social media wall. The first thing we have is the unofficial fun run. Tradition is continuing. We have DJ, Vitelli, and Thomas Grasso, who were getting their 5K in this morning. So I really love the message of this. I think it's super important for people to go out, get some fresh air, and just not, especially how we're doing this remote office thing. I think it's really important for people to just come out and get some fresh air, you know, take a walk, get some breather. So
did you get your steps in yet today, Josh?
Let me tell you something. I'm sometimes accused of being a complainer or a little bit negative, but Frankfurt's an amazing city, but trying to run to get to the river takes forever. There's all these stoplights that are red, and you got to wait to cross, and the locals follow the rules, and I've been crossing at my own risk because I can see it's clear.
Yeah.
And hopefully nobody turns me in, because it took me almost 10 minutes to get to a point where I could run 5K straight.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, I got my steps in.
Good job.
It was fun, but it took a minute to get there.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are getting their steps in throughout this hashtag UTFRW.
Easiest hashtag ever, right?
Easiest hashtags. Try saying that 3 times.
Thanks, DJ.
No, but we're really happy that you guys are joining in with this hashtag, because it's a beautiful message behind it. So continue sharing with us hashtag SAP TechEd and hashtag UTFRW.
Exactly.
Next, we have an awesome tweet from Pete. Pete, he tweeted our friend Holly, who is also watching the SAP TechEd event. It looks like she's interested more in an event than a lot of people. So hopefully she's able to see her friend Casimir and, you know, get to be able to share that interest with them.
That cat looks literally like Casimir.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, that looks like Casimir's
and now
twin.
Casimir pops up as if on call.
So Holly, if you're watching this, Casimir wants to say hello to you.
That's awesome.
Next, we have, speaking of Casimir, we have a tweet from Karsten. He has this adorable graphic of him and Casimir. And he tweeted, he's wondering what Casimir is coding. So I'm actually interested in seeing what he's coding as well. Hopefully he's coding in ABAP. So if you created any graphics using Casimir or including Casimir, we'll love to see that. Just put hashtag SAP TechEdCat and it has SAP TechEd, and we'll love to have yours displayed on our social media wall as well.
I love all of the pet photos. So yesterday we got to see Rich's dog, Sully.
Yes,
that was
Sully.
also featured in the social media
You
wall.
could also join any conference Rich has at home because Sully's omnipresent,
Yeah.
always right there
He's
next
basically
to it.
family.
Yes.
And there was somebody also, I think, posted yesterday that they wanted, it was a picture of their cat saying, Piper wants to know how they can be a host of next year's SAP TechEd. So it was also a really cute one.
Yeah, so keep those coming. We'll love to see them. And then we also have, so we've been getting a lot of home office posts and just you guys sharing where you're watching the event from. So we have one from our SAP community advocate, Sevilla. She was actually one of the hosts for the social media wall last year, if you tuned in last year to the event. So it's good to see that Sevilla is watching the show with us. We definitely miss you. And if you are also watching the show, show us your home office. We'll love to see how you're watching it, where you're watching it, what setup that you have going on. Just use the hashtag again, SAP TechEd, SAP Communities, and yeah, yours will be featured on our wall as well.
And she also had a great video that was featured, and she's into a lot of mindfulness and where she's grown in her career and how she's come so far, and it's a really amazing story. So that video is, I think, on YouTube. You can see that, or she might have tweeted it as well. If you follow her, there's her hashtag or her Twitter handle.
Yes, yeah, it was a really good video. It shows you how like people can transition to careers, and she has a really beautiful story about that. So last but not least, we have a video from DJ Adam, a fun video for basically a little snippet for our developer keynote that's coming up within the next hour, just to get you prepared, show you a little bit of keywords that you'll be able to see during the event, the keynote. So it's definitely something that you do not want to miss. We have some amazing demos for you guys. The team did amazing trying to create this. And I think personally, not being biased, it's one for the books for sure.
And Mimiki, you're also in the developer keynote,
yes,
right?
Yep. So you'll be seeing me and a fellow of my colleagues, especially from the developer advocate team, where we show you guys some demos and how you can have basically make your life easier as a developer.
That's awesome.
And before you leave, I just want to call out how patient you were during filming, because I mentioned in a blog post I wrote that we're not news hosts and we're not actors. And to be told where to stand, what to say, what to do, it's a little overwhelming. I'm used to being in control of the room. And you had to really go into, and I don't want to give away your scene, but be told where to look and what to say and have a teleprompter and different angles. And it was a lot of hours for not a lot of footage. It's amazing how much gets condensed down. So super.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot that goes into production, and I hope you guys stay tuned also for our open discussion after the keynote, so you guys can be able to ask your questions to the developer advocates just to see how this whole thing played a part. And that is it for our social media wall right now.
Come back for a check-in later.
I definitely
thank
will.
you so much.
Thanks, Mimiki.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mimiki. Great to have you. Great to see all of the activity on social. All right, so we saw a lot of posts on cats, right?
Yeah.
Always lots of activity about cats, but we also have Casimir decals.
He's on my shirt.
He's on your shirt. He was also on Jurgen's shirt. He had a blue shirt. I also noticed that. You were going to be wearing the t-shirt as well. So where can people find the decals? How can they download those to Adam?
Easiest way right now to get it is to go into the chat tool and look in the SAP TechEd session, in the event website. And in the chat tool for this session on Channel 1, there should be somebody throwing that in there right now. It's a link that you can click on to get one of 4 pictures. You can get the black or a white background, and you can get the reverse images. Have fun with it, download it. If you have a 3D printer and you want to print one, I think that would be awesome. I haven't seen anybody do that yet, but there's lots of different things you can do with these different stickers that are out there.
That's awesome. And speaking of 3D printers, what's this little guy all about? Tell me about Mini Josh.
The thing is, I'm somebody who knows what he likes, and if I have an interest, if it happens to be playing records, so I want to go out and buy some vinyl, I go out and get the vinyl I want.
Okay.
I'm hard to buy gifts for. So last year, my family surprised me with this because a friend of mine, actually, Anya in Waldorf, she drew a picture of me for a podcast I did with my face. And then my family went, that's a great idea. Josh loves himself. Let's make another Josh. And they gave it to me for my birthday. So it was one of these things where I was like, wow, I actually got myself, but it's amazing. It looks just like me. They took
and
pictures.
It moves, right?
Yeah, it agrees with everything that you say. And it is a bobblehead Josh made from pictures, and they mail away digitally the photos of me. And my wife had to say multiple times, no, it's not a misprint. It's a blue beard. So
That's awesome. It looks really just like you.
it does. It's very beautiful.
I
is
feel
another
like
way to
I'm
say
being
it.
joined by two Joshes in the room, which is kind of a lot to handle. No, I'm just kidding.
I am a lot to handle, thank you. Menina did a great job putting up with me, so I appreciate the tolerance.
And you also brought some of your cell phones. So tell us about what else you have here on the table.
Yeah, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about these. These are older cell phones because when I started with SAP, I got to come in and be part of the mobile team in global IT. And in working in Newtown Square, we were buying cell phones, and at the time, that's a really old one that was just somebody thrown into a closet, and then there's a flip phone there that's a world phone that actually, it still works if you want to power it on. And then there's an iPhone there, and that iPhone works as well if we picked it up and powered it on. And Kevin, who you hosted with, is very jealous that I have that in my possession. I did not steal this. I did not put it in my house to keep it. It is SAP's phone. They can take it from me because it's one of the first 5 that I bought. So back in 2007, when the iPhones came out, we needed to get them to try them out and start testing out security, putting email onto them. It was a very interesting time. And from 2007 to 2010, we were exploring using iOS in our global IT team. And by the time we decided in 2010 we were going to make the jump, iPads came out.
Yeah.
And that accelerated everyone at SAP enjoying using iOS devices alongside of BlackBerries and Android devices.
Yeah.
So, great
very
IT
cool.
team, great support, and we've got to play with these devices all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know yesterday you and Kevin were kind of having a back and forth over when it actually was released.
Yeah,
First
and
one.
I'm sure Kevin was right in his own mind.
And you also brought with you some medals. What are the medals for?
So as we know, I'm not always the smartest guy, and I will force myself to go on longer runs when I probably shouldn't, and my body is fighting me on this. But I've attempted to do several different 5Ks, and a friend of mine said, hey, let's do a 10-mile run through the streets of Philadelphia. Now, everybody's going to be singing that song, I'm sure.
Yep.
But there is a broad street run, 10 miles straight down. Philadelphia is lucky enough to have a straight stretch of 10 miles, and they close the streets down, and this year was the first time in person since COVID. And also a good point that we're tested every day, and we're safe on stage. And, and this was a COVID-safe test with 30,000 people. So we had to run down the streets of Philadelphia with 30,000 participants. So it was a really amazing time, and I was happy I could complete it. And when I go home, I'm going to try to do a half marathon.
Woohoo! Well, lots to look forward to. You're definitely going to get your steps in there then.
Yes, for sure.
And yeah, that's also a good point that you mentioned, that we really want to say thank you to the production crew and to everybody here who's made this event possible and has kept us safe. They've really done truly an amazing job, and I think we have all just felt very secure. So that's awesome.
100%.
Let's check in on Wolfgang and see what he has been doing with the mural.
It's Spaceship SAP, right?
Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Nice
Great
to see you again.
Welcome back, good to see you.
I am excited to see what you have for us.
Well, I'm excited as well. You know, when I started on the day 1, actually, I just was taking notes. I was scribbling and sketching, and I've shown you the first sketches like that one right now in a moment, where I decided to go with the planet on premise, which is going to be a dangerous place in the future. And so there's a spaceship you have to jump onto in order to get rescued and actually have a safe life as an enterprise. And now started to doing the final drawing. I moved to a different application, which in my case is Photoshop. And this is how the planet on premise looks right now in the moment. So you have pretty much all these enterprises. And when you look carefully, you see these kind of entanglements to them. So these are kind of applications and the data, they're called cubes, as I was told. And some of the applications, people call them beasts or monsters. And you actually can bring the monsters with you when you are getting released from the planet on premise. So you see pretty much this little enterprise that is just getting cut from the ground and is now floating above. And the monsters are coming along. But not all the monsters, there are SAP ships rescuing them and bringing them to the big mothership. And these kind of transport shuttles are the BW bridge in one case.
Yeah, perfect.
And in another case, it's the steampunk that is then eventually everything connecting to the HANA cloud. So right now, I'm in the middle of the process.
No, I really love what you have so far, and I really love this idea, like you said, where you showed with the SAP spaceships that are coming in, and also those hands. So what are those hands that I'm seeing with the BW bridge and the steampunk? Are those welcoming?
These are
open
welcoming hands, actually, yeah, because what I learned is that SAP is offering kind of a bridge to everyone now to get on board eventually. And in order to really symbolize this welcome sign, I decided to go with the hands.
Yeah.
And so we have a few hands, actually. So we have the BW bridge, we have the low-code, no-code hands, and we have the steampunk hands. And there are going to be hands as well for the SAP learning as well, which is here at the back of the ship. And then we have the use cases, and actually there are going to be a lot more rockets, because actually use cases, that's what boosts you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you have a rocket theme for the use cases.
Yeah,
So.
Just with 3 use cases, the ship would not move at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are definitely, I think, 10 more to come.
And what about here in the top right-hand corner? Is that a magnifying glass?
In the top, well,
it's analytics.
That's analytics. That's a microscope.
Perfect.
So
I'm cheating. I was here earlier.
Yeah. This is symbolizing the analytics cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you're analyzing the data. So below the microscope, there's going to be a stream of data.
Yeah.
This is connected also to robotic processes, to automation, to repetitive tasks. Everything is also connected here to the HANA cloud. And of course, to the artificial intelligence.
The brain behind the operation.
Yeah, so there are quite a number of details. And of course, because to be honest, in the beginning, I had Casimir. Casimir was sitting on top of here at the data warehouse cloud. But the data warehouse cloud was fitting a lot better at this place.
Yeah.
So I was moving Casimir then to this position. It's just not finished. It's a bit rough, but...
No, it's looking really great, and I really love the picture that you have painted here in terms of... I think it really gives a full overview of everything we've been talking about for the last...
It's the same as when you're on site at TechEd, and Wolfgang has done the same thing I've seen in Vegas and Barcelona. It's this... I see you wander the entire show floor, and so you're virtually doing that now and picking our brains as well, and listening to us banter. He's virtually and in person getting a tour of all the technologies. It's amazing to see it visually, though, because this is not how my brain works. Or my hands.
Yeah.
Nice, gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just, I'm getting in a mode of panic usually. To be honest, it is.
Yeah.
Because I enter it's the event, it's a TechEd, it's very technical.
Yeah.
I'm a techie guy, but I'm not that technical. I'm not an SAP guy.
Yep.
So you're just throwing around with acronyms all the time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
What is a BW? What is Steampunk? What is HANA Cloud, really? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I really have to understand first what is the meaning behind, then put everything together, get the connections, and then visualize it.
But that's what I think is the most powerful about your image, right? That even when you didn't have the full understanding of all of the acronyms, you still were able to paint a picture of really what we've been trying to say during this conference, you know, that there is this transition that's being happened, but that SAP is there to help you, and there are a variety of tools that are being put out there. We also have artificial intelligence, I think.
Yeah.
Well done. Very
Can't wait
well
to
done.
see it finished, Wolfgang.
Exactly.
Can't wait.
Agreed.
Tomorrow afternoon. Okay.
See you then.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye then.
See you next time. Well, I think I need to talk about, speaking of learning, I think I need to take some art courses because I am not to that level.
We all would aspire to be at that level, but it just isn't meant to be sometimes. But I enjoy looking at art like that, and I can appreciate it. And right behind you, I see what he drew for the entire Devtoberfest, which is, you know, we did 6 weeks of things, and he highlighted all those as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's just the way that artist's brain works. They bring these things to life in a different manner, and it's more entertaining to visually look at than just sometimes the zeros and ones that a technical brain sees.
But especially like that, in terms of to be able to create an image out of something that you're not necessarily an expert in takes a lot of intelligence and creativity.
The secret with the acronyms is easy. Just start all of them with SAP. And everything else after that will work out perfectly.
Good advice. Okay, so we are already having tons of fun here in Channel 1, but what were some of the highlights last year, or not last year, yesterday from it feels like last year, from the content tracks?
So I loved, like I mentioned, the integrated technologies. And when I look at all the different content tracks that were available, I don't as much get away from my space, but it gave me a chance to. So I got away from some of the cloud native things that I deal with, and I got away from the open source code and looking at that to go and jump into the data and analytics things. And with database and analytics technologies, I can now jump in and just really focus on it and rewatch these sessions and enjoy those. Those were two of my favorite tracks because it's just places I can't go in my regular day job.
Yeah, of course. And I saw some of the feedback on Twitter yesterday. There were a couple of people who mentioned, one guy mentioned that it felt like he was waking up from a long COVID sleep, that he felt like he was so excited that Channel 1 was here because he's just starved. I think he said he was starved of tech discussions and that he was glad that we had all of the external voices in the show. There were several people that mentioned that as well in terms of having all of the customers that we've brought into Channel 1, having the community talks to be able to just add additional voices and to really have those discussions. So
yeah,
I think that was...
I can echo that with saying that like in intelligent technologies, which we can talk about later as part of the developer keynote, I don't have time to play with AI and chatbots.
Yeah.
And to be able to see and learn how easy it was to go in and set up your own chatbot and play with it. And I don't have the session number, I apologize, but there's a great session out there where you can go in and you can start from zero and get to a full working chatbot in no time. And so that's the kind of thing that's great to be exposed to that you would never have if you didn't just see that session advertised.
Yeah, of course. So definitely lots to look for in the content tracks in terms of we talk about the highlights and the overviews here in Channel 1, but make sure you also dive deeper into those topics in the content tracks. And we have a highlight video for you from some of the highlights of the content tracks, so let's take a look.
This is TechEd, so it's a little bit techy. Welcome to the session.
Thank you, Marianne, for having me here.
Hello and welcome to the session.
My name is Michael Jess.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin Stenzinger.
Hello and welcome to the session.
Welcome to the ABAP strategy session. My name is Boris Gebhardt.
Welcome everyone, and it's great to be here with you today.
Hello guys. Hello everyone. My name is Jason Hinsberg.
Welcome everyone to this session here.
I really look forward to talking through this topic with you later.
My name is Bert Schulze, and I will host today's session.
I'm looking forward to taking you guys through the SAP Activate enterprise management layer.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Power the Recruit to Retire business process session.
Hi, my name is Samir Bikhtiri.
Welcome everyone to our session.
Welcome everybody to TechEd.
Thank you, Adi, and welcome everyone.
Sanjeet, welcome to the presentation. I am Sanjeet Mall.
Looking forward to sharing more details later in the...
Welcome to our session.
Hi, my name is John Kuchi.
Hello, my name is Bruce Hingston.
My name is Nitin Datar.
I'm Ryan Muller.
Hello everybody.
Happy to be here.
Hello everyone. Good day to everyone from my side as well.
Hi there everyone, and thank you so much for joining the session today.
Welcome back. That was a great highlight video. Hope you enjoyed it. And I want to introduce back to the stage. We teased that she was coming back. Mimiki is here, but this time for a remote check-in. And Mimiki, I think you're going to be talking with Greg Capps.
Yep. So welcome, Greg. Greg is one of our SAP mentors, and we'll be checking in on him from all the way in Georgia. How are you, Greg?
Hi, Greg.
Things are great here in Georgia.
It's pretty early, right?
Oh, it's morning, but we're good.
Well, good morning to
In
you.
virtual world?
So how have you been enjoying TechEd so far?
TechEd's been great. You know, I really miss in-person TechEd, but there are some great sessions occurring and a lot of announcements that I think are important to everyone.
So what session would you say is your favorite so far, or that you're looking forward to?
Well, you know, I can answer both of those. You know, what I'm looking for, yesterday, Jürgen Miller talked about sustainability of SAP, you know, and that is also in the security space. He also talked about the learning journey, which is good. People can learn more about SAP at learning.sap.com. It's great. We've learned a lot over the past few years with being in this pandemic, and being able to learn remotely is a very big item. And then also, you know, learning about free tier and being able to actually practice some of those things that you're learning in those journeys are great. And I loved hearing about that. But a session yesterday talked about security by design and by default. Those are words that SAP has used for several years. But if you listen to Jürgen, those things are closer than we thought. If you think about all of the customers around the world who used to install Microsoft Office on their own laptops, and everybody was on different versions, and then the paradigm shifted and we moved to Office 365 and a more sustainable environment. The same thing is happening with SAP in that we're separating out, you know, custom code and configuration into its own space so that the core product can be upgraded much better. And I loved hearing about that yesterday. And then I also attended a great session with Anne-Marie Colombo around security by design and by default. Matthias Kempfer had a good session about cybersecurity in the cloud. Really love those sessions because it's where SAP is going, and we all need to learn more. Our paradigm changed, and we need to adopt it.
That's great advice, Greg.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a little bit about security by design, and I know that you are a SAP mentor as well. So can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been an SAP mentor, and how did you get into that, I guess, the SAP space?
Well, how did I get in the SAP space is an easy question. I worked for a large company that was global, and we got bought by another larger company that used SAP. Mm-hmm. And I got my first exposure on doing multiple global implementations of SAP at that time. As far as being a mentor, you know, there are people who sit back and wait for someone to tell them how to perform. And there are other people who see that maybe security should be by design, and that a large company like SAP should probably focus on some of these risks. And I was one of those advocates for the customer about providing SAP ways that they could deliver better security, working on customer influence. You know, I was part of the America's SAP Users Group and providing feedback through the influence channels to SAP on how to improve the product. And people recognized that I wasn't somebody who was just consuming SAP. I was actually trying to improve it. And in doing so, I became a speaker and sharing knowledge to other people around the world. And that's, you know, sort of my journey into becoming an SAP mentor.
Miki, if I could jump in, just
Yes.
I love hearing another Georgia boy talk. So you can take the boy out of Georgia, but you can't take the Georgia out of the boy.
That's great.
So Greg's actually right down the road from where I was born, near Stone Mountain, Georgia. So it's good to talk to you, Greg. I think my family's on the other side of the perimeter, over closer to Douglasville. And they're pretty proud to see me up here acting almost as a mentor as well to people that are trying to build apps and focus on development with SAP. And I want to self-promote DevToberfest a little bit that just happened, and we hope to have another one next year that's just as successful. Did you attend any of the week 4 sessions that Thomas Young put on with security?
I did not attend them this year with Tom Young, but Tom is a great resource. He has been a mentor in the past. He's got a great personality to actually have a development mindset, and he's all about growing the community. And Tom Young is great and has really helped, along with others like Rich Yoon, about HANA security, HANA cloud. Great sessions with Tom.
Well, the good news for you and everybody else is you can go back and rewatch all the things from week 4, and you can't compete and get points, but you can actually look at what happened. And the code's out there on GitHub as well if you want to play with some of the security challenges that he put out there. So, sorry to steal too much time, Miki.
No, that was a great question. That was a great question. So so how many TechEds have you attended so far, and which one would you say is your favorite by far?
Well, I've attended most likely somewhere between 10 and 12 TechEds. I've missed very few.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most memorable was when I was with our previous company. We attended in Philadelphia, and that was very memorable. I was a jack of all trades at the time, not focused on security. So I was doing basis, I was doing database administration, I was doing security, I was managing developers. And so a lot of things occurred, but attending in Philadelphia was my most memorable because I think it really took me from where I was as being a practitioner to actually growing into a much stronger SAP mentor.
That's great, Greg. Thank you so much for checking in with us today. Within our remote check-in, we're happy to have you here. And let us know if you have any sessions that you're looking forward to later on, and share with us them on our social media as well using the hashtag SAP TechEd. We'll love to see your reactions and thoughts on the upcoming sessions that we'll be having soon.
Absolutely. Looking for the security roadmap session today. I think it's going to be great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Greg.
Nice to see you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You as well.
Awesome. Love to always see the people out in the community that are getting active and to connect with them here in the show. I think it really gives a nice element to have them joining, do their remote check-ins.
Yeah, 100%. And he keeps making me think of other people that I've worked with. I have a colleague, Rick Smith, in SAP Government Services, and he focuses on security, and he has moved from the SAP consulting world over into the Government Services Organization. And the focus on security is, of course, in the public sector, there's all eyes on what you're doing, and it's just nice to have those relationships. And he's kind of a mentor to me. So Greg just made me think of all the great relationships I have with all of you out there. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So we have, it looks like, about 7 minutes left until the keynote. So we're finally getting into the final countdown. You want to set the clock for us?
I have set it.
Woohoo!
Hopefully it works.
All right. So now that we're in the final countdown, Josh, I want to ask you some questions since you're part of the keynote. You're obviously here in Frankfurt. We've been here for a little over a week, but take us back. So talk to us about the preparation. How did we get to where we are today, almost minutes away from the keynote?
When we were rehearsing for this, I thought that would be a great question, but after being through rehearsal now, my brain is scrambled eggs. And I'm sitting there going, oh, wait, when do we start? I literally think beginning of 2021 was, hey, we're going to have to go through and do something again remotely like we did last year. What are we going to do? We're going to do another developer keynote like last year? We hope so. We're going to do another DevToberfest? We hope so. And we started planning. And then we kind of were as a team in the background saying, maybe we want to do something a little different and change the scale or change the scope. So that's the first thing. It was also getting together in the idea of what are we going to do if it's not going to be like this, filmed in location. It might all be remote. We didn't know what to plan for.
Yeah, exactly. And how would you say this year's developer keynote differentiates from last year's? What's different?
The first thing is the scope of the developer keynote participants. So last year's video featured Kevin, DJ, and I believe, I forget, Rich, I think. And the three of them were trying to solve a problem together with one discipline each. So these three disciplines solving one problem. And we've multiplied that by 3 this year, and we have 9 people that are trying to solve their own, how do you make the life of the developer better? Like, how do you improve a developer's life?
Yeah.
And so they're trying to present their code in a snippet. And it is a 4-minute snippet, give or take, of time. It could be a much longer demo. It could be 30 minutes in some cases, or an hour, depending on the developer advocate or the guest participant that's showcasing their technology. And there are 10 technologies featured. So it's not one problem. It's 10 different things that you're trying to give to the developer community to make their lives easier that touch on SAP code.
Yeah, exactly. And you obviously are doing live segments like this one, but the developer keynote was not filmed the same as the live one. So how was the preparation in terms of that, in terms of the difference between doing a live segment and actually recording the keynote?
So 2 things. One is the company got together with us and said, what do you need to film remotely?
Yeah.
You guys are going to put this on. We want it to look good, we want it to sound good, so we got equipment. Not everybody has the same home office setup, but there's a good chance that if you go to every one of the people in the video and look somewhere in their house, you'll find a green screen of some sort, some size. You'll find some decent lighting, just like this. And you'll find good microphones. And then we recorded our demos using some software. So our screens are being recorded while we're talking, and then the green screen behind us, so we all could have an image superimposed later where we'd look like we're in the same room. So the backup plan was that might be it.
Yeah.
That might be what we do. And those 10 segments that we filmed, that's what you get when you see the developer keynote. No live interactions, no talking. We said if we can get together though, what are the chances we can film something in the same room? Maybe in Philadelphia, maybe in Frankfurt, 2 locations. And then we got the announcement we could all be in Frankfurt, which is awesome. But we had to come up with a theme.
Yep.
So a connective theme, so you're not just watching 4 minutes of this, 4 minutes of this, 4 minutes of this. And I don't want to give away the theme, but I think it's global and most people have seen something like it, and we want it to be entertaining. That was the first thing that Rich and Mamiki got in a room. So with the 3 of us being in the Philadelphia regional area, the SAP office was open, COVID protocols were being followed, and we could go in and meet together in a conference room and sketch out the ideas. And I think that what Rich, Mamiki, and myself did is, I said it earlier this morning, it's the funniest thing, in my opinion, I've ever seen SAP put out, or it's the most awkward first date you've ever seen.
Well, that gets us excited then, I suppose. And also, since you won't technically be part of the panel discussion later, because you'll be moderating it with me, can you share a little bit about the demo that you're going to show without giving it away completely?
Yeah, for sure. So I talked to a lot of product managers with the SAP Kima. It's an open source code set. You can go and use Kima and grab it and play with it and do what you want from the open source community, but SAP has put Kima in as a runtime and a microservice ability within SAP's business technology platform. So I showcase a couple of things that have to do with things that are out there already. You can actually see SAP Event Mesh and you can see CI/CD, so SAP's continuous integration, continuous delivery, and how those integrate has been put out by Arena and team. I work a lot with Jamie Cawley, who's one of our product managers, Marco Dorn. They were so giving of their time to me, and I know I didn't do justice to all the content that's out there about these subjects, but I tried to, in 4 minutes, cram together a little bit of a demo of what you're gonna see. And later, you can actually drag that out, and you can see a longer demo that we'll put together, maybe in one of our code bites.
Awesome, that's great. So really looking forward to seeing the developer keynote now. And what would you say is your, like, I don't know, what was the highlight of the whole developer keynote process for you? Was it the just bringing it and being here all together? Was it the individual demos that are there? Or what is really, if you look back and go, that's my favorite part? Without giving it away.
Singularly, the best thing about this is that before last year, the developer keynote was not part of TechEd. And we know that developers want TechEd to be code-focused. So when we finally got this plan done and you see that there's, like I said, about 40 minutes of nothing but code on screen or a developer talking about code, it's a different feeling. And when you have the sandwich of us talking and Jürgen Mueller doing a great technical keynote as well, and the developers doing a keynote as part of the entire TechEd experience, To me, that's the favorite thing, is that it's part of the entire event.
Yeah, exactly, because this is the second one, right? So,
Yep, the second of many.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to what comes next year. But with that, I guess we are almost to the end of the hour here, and we're really looking forward to seeing the developer keynote. You've definitely gotten us excited. We're amped.
Bobble Josh is happy. It's going to be great, and nothing like this has ever existed before. I can't wait. Welcome. It's time for the developer keynote. I'm super excited. I'm part of it. We got a lot of people who worked hard to put this together, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh Bentley, a developer advocate with SAP, and yeah, it's going to be a fun hour, and I can't wait to showcase everything that we've worked so hard for literally all of this year to finally have it be on air.
All right, we are looking forward.